So I've got a 2022 Ford Lightning full EV, and this is my review for 100,000 miles with my Ford Lightning. All right, for clarity, I'm not completely at 100,000 miles yet. In fact, my dealership, Kisselback Ford, is coming to get my truck this morning. They've got a service where they can come to my shop and do the service, or they can take it back. I told them just take it for the day. They're going to do the 10,000 mile service, which they do every 10,000 miles, which rotates my tires, and it checks for windshield wiper fluid, and it looks for error codes, and it looks underneath the truck for any possible failures. Really not much to it, and it doesn't cost much to get the 10,000 mile service. I've got this up on my screen. This is in, you go into your Apple CarPlay, and I have an app installed called Car Scanner on my iPhone. There's a dongle that's under my dash that connects to this, and once you connect, there's several different screens that you can connect. This is the one that I use most because it's the most informative. It tells me that I'm at a 66% state of charge on my high voltage battery, but more importantly, my high voltage battery state of health is 99.5%. So I've only lost 0.5% according to this app and this dongle and the truck's computer at 100,000 miles. What's that mean? I hope it means I'll get 300,000 miles out of it, because the truck runs great. I'll tell you this, the tires that come with this truck are Grabbers. It's a Grabber HTS 60 made by General, and you can see mine are pretty wore out right now. This is my second set of tires in 100,000 miles. I got 50,000 out of the first set, and I got 50,000 out of this set. So at 100,000 miles, my interior's still looking really good. I haven't had any real wear issues on the seats. I did see some people with like bleeding colors and whatever, but I haven't had that issue. It's still in great shape. I did have one significant issue. Well, it actually wasn't significant, but it was scary at the time. I got a powertrain malfunction error like a year ago, and dealership came and took the truck, and it ended up being a valve related to the coolant. So apparently there's still a radiator in an electric vehicle, and it still runs coolant to the motors, and this valve changes the direction of flow or something, and that valve failed. It was an electric valve. It failed. It would have been, according to the ticket, like less than $1,900 and change, if I remember correctly, to replace it. It was covered under warranty because it was powertrain related, and that was the biggest issue I've had with my 2022 Lightning Platinum. So this is the Ford Pass app on my iPhone. It tells me that the vehicle's on, which it is on. I'm sitting in the truck running right now. It tells me my range. It tells me the what the status of the software update is, which coincidentally it just updated a couple days ago, and I got this new version of the app, which has been a little bit confusing only because it's new. But everything's still here that was in the old app. I can do the trailer light check. I can see my license plate number and VIN number. The phone as a key works, which coincidentally this morning I went to work and I forgot my keys at home, because when I got in the truck it starts because the phone works as a key, and I didn't realize that I didn't grab my keys. Not a big deal. I have the phone as a key on the phone app, and if the phone dies, there's a code on the door like all Fords for many decades that you can punch to get in the truck, and there's a passcode on my infotainment center that I can enter, and it will allow me to drive the truck just like I had a key, and then I could plug my phone in and charge it. And if I'm being completely honest, there has been one nagging issue that frequently happens with the app on the truck, and it has something to do with the truck's communication to the outside world, where it sends data to my phone on the app. I should be able to see the range at any time. I should be able to see the status of the charge. I should be able to remote start the climate control. And over the last 6 months, it's been very spotty. And I know it's something to do with my truck because I've uninstalled and reinstalled the app several times. I've contacted Ford. When I'm on the phone with them, they can confirm that it's been a month since my truck sent any signals. So it's something in the truck. They said it's an Ethernet or something, some sort of module that you got to tear the whole dash apart to get to, and then boom, it starts working again. So I'm like, I don't know that I want to pay the money to get that done. You can imagine what it would cost to rip the dash apart and get to that one component. So because it doesn't really affect my driving or anything, it just is a nuisance that I can't remote start the climate or check the status of the charge remotely. It's just a minor nuisance. And overall, the truck has been a great truck. It's been the best F-150 I've ever had. So I'm showing you my trailer because people say, oh, you can't tow. Well, I own a tilt trailer and I own some scissor lifts because as an electrical contractor, I do a lot of work on commercial buildings and you need a scissor lift to reach heights. So I do tow. The electric braking on the trailer works just fine with the towing package that came with the truck. And I haven't had any issue. It tows great. Sure, it affects range just like a gasoline or diesel truck affects range when you tow. It doesn't make a big difference for me because I'm not towing all over the country. All right, lots of questions about charging all the time, so I'm going to tell you. Level 1 means you plug it into a 110 outlet and you get 1 to 2 miles of range added for every hour of charge. It's very slow, doesn't cost much, it's ridiculous. When my truck has 320 miles of range, I am not going to charge at level 1 ever in my life, anywhere, I don't care. Level 2 is what most people have in their homes. It's anywhere from 30 amps 240 volt to 100 amps 240 volt. I have the 100 amp charger for my 2022 Ford Lightning Platinum. It will take the full 80 amps. Just because it's a 100 amp breaker doesn't mean you're pulling 100 amps. It charges at 80 amps, 80% of the circuit. It's an electrical thing. So I've already showed you my state of health on my high voltage battery. I'm here to tell you I charge to 100% on level 2 every single time that I charge for the last 3 years. Always to 100% at home. Never have I ever stopped it at 80% or 90%. I don't listen to the naysayers. I drive the truck like it's a truck. I got 100,000 miles in 3 years. 100% every time on level 2. Now level 3 charging is different. You can't do level 3 charging at home. Level 2 is the most you can do at home. I do 19,200 watts on a level 2 charger. That's 80 amps at 240 volts on a single phase residential service in Florida. If you do level 3 charging, it can start at 50,000 watts and go up to 350,000 watts on the Tesla chargers and some Electrify Americas. But the truck, the Platinum Lightning, only takes 150 according to spec. I can get 181 I've seen on a level 3 DC fast charger for the first 10 minutes of charge, and then it throttles down to about 150. Also on a DC fast charger, if you're charging, you only want to go to 80% because when it hits 80%, the vehicle is going to tell the charger to slow down. It slows down to like 40,000 watts or something at 80%, and it's a long time to get all the way to 100%. So I'm just going to go from 20% to 80% or whatever I am to 80% and do it in 30 to 45 minutes on a. So here's the kicker. You got an EV now and you need all these apps. Now I always exaggerate and say you got 30 apps, but this is what I have. Of course, I got my Ford app. The second app is the Charge Station Pro app. The bottom center is the Charge Station app because I have 2 different chargers at home. I have one for my wife's Mustang Mach-E and one for the Lightning. The Mustang Mach-E only takes 60 amps. The communication to each of those chargers once you connect it to Wi-Fi is absolutely unreliable. There's no way to make it work. You just have to constantly disconnect and reconnect, reprogram, whatever, and it doesn't really matter because the truck's going to tell you what it's charging at. I just thought it was frustrating that these chargers have the ability to communicate with the internet, and you should be able to check in on them and see the status of the charger, but they frequently drop communication. So skip past that. I have PlugShare, which is the third app. Next row down, I got ChargeUp and ChargePoint. I use those quite frequently at like Disney Springs or Disney World. ChargeUp, I think, is the one we use for the Duke Energy chargers right over here in downtown Orlando. The FPL Evolution, very good chargers. I prefer the ones that are over 150 kW so I can get the max charge on my truck. EVgo I've used from time and again. Electrify America in the beginning was the worst. Their chargers failed so many times. They've gotten better. They're more modern looking now and well maintained. I find them to be very, very good to use. They're frequently in Walmart parking lots. So if you're on a road trip off of 95 here in Florida, you can stop, go into Walmart, use the bathroom, get a drink, get a snack, whatever, walk around a little bit, and then go back to your vehicle. Blink, I haven't used much. ABRP is the better route planner app. A lot of guys love that. I hate it. Don't use it much. The 7Charge app, I tried 7Charge because I thought, oh, it's new, let's try it. But they only go to 100 kW. So it's not quick enough for me. I'm not going to be on a road trip and want to charge at 100 kW and only get 2/3 of the capacity that I can at an Electrify America or a Tesla charger. I've got the Shell charger, which has worked good. Emporia's the level 2 charger I have at the shop, my office. The car scanner app is the dongle I was telling you about that shows the statistics on my vehicle. And EV Connect is one I just had to install the other day. That I found a DC fast charger somewhere that needed the EV Connect. I didn't need to install the Mercedes app when I was charging at a Mercedes charger for the first time last week. They simply are plug and play with Ford. They connect to the Blue, whatever it's called, the Ford Blue Oval Network, I believe it's called. But level 3 charging is a problem because there's so many different options and so many different chargers, and you have to know how to use every app individually. You've got to load a credit card on each app, but you know, you're never getting your card skimmed at a gas pump, so there's that. And level 3 charging is good if you're on a road trip. Just got my truck back from Kisselback Ford. It was $34 for the 10,000 mile service at 100,000 miles. I'm actually 99,725 now. $34. They rotate the tires. They check for error codes. They look for oil leaks. They look for any malfunctioning parts under the truck, and they fill up the windshield wiper fluid. $34 every 10,000 miles. My tires have lasted 50,000 miles each time. My charging at home cost me about 12 to 15 bucks from 20 to 80%. I get 300 miles of range out of the battery that says it's rated for 320. I get about 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour on a good day. If I'm hot dogging it, I don't get that. If it's cold out, I don't get that. Got 100,000 miles in 36 months, and it's been the best truck I've had. And that's my final review for 100,000 miles on a 2022 Ford Lightning Platinum.